Welcome everyone. It is our first module of the first lecture of the History of Art and Architecture 3. There is a minimum requirement for this course is that you already completed your History of Art and Architecture 1 and History of Art and Architecture 2 courses. This is the introductory lecture of this course, and this lecture will cover the basic history of the Indian subcontinent from an architecture perspective. To understand the history of India, we should have a clear idea about what is India. This module will primarily focus on the idea of India and the Indian subcontinent. India. There are many theories about the root of the term India. Among them, the theory most prominent and widely accepted by many scholars, as Oscar Parpola proposed, the word India evolved from the word Sindhu. The Sindhu River is one of the longest rivers in Asia. It flows through China, India, and Pakistan. The Persian used to call the people of the valley of Sindhu as Hindu. When it was passed to the Greeks from the Persians, they pronounced it as Indu. Later, it was adopted by the Romans as Indus. The term Indus are widely used by most Romanist people of the West. It is evident that till now, the people by the Sindhu are called Sindh in India and Pakistan, and there is a province as Sindh in Pakistan, which is the largest province of them. So there is very little justification to call the people by the Ganges as Sindhu or Hindu, and even there is no historical explanation to call the people by the Godavari or Kaveri as Hindu or Hindus. The present name is more political than historical. However, in this course, we will learn about the architecture of the Indian subcontinent, not just the Indus or India. Now it's time to explore what is Indian subcontinent. The Indian subcontinent is sometimes synonymous with the term South Asia. South Asia is the place where 25% of the world population lives. It is a small chunk of land which is about 3.5% of the world landmass. This small chunk is a part of the Eurasian landmass of the world. But from the geographical point of view, this chunk is unique. According to the continental drift theory, the world was a singular mass about 300 million years ago as a supercontinent, which is called Pangaea. Further, that theory explained that the Indian subcontinent mass was between the South American and Australian mass of the Pangaea. This plate moves from there towards the Eurasian plate and it collides about 10 million years ago. This collision is the reason behind the formation of the Himalayas and the topological formation of the subcontinental landmass. It also provides a boundary for this chunk, which can be called as Indian subcontinent. In this course, we'll primarily explore the art and architecture of this landmark. As we know, when the collision was occurred in few 10 million years ago, there were no people in this chunk of the land. Let's see how and why this land is now so densely populated. According to the early human migration theory, the origin of human beings was somewhere Southeast Africa, maybe in Kenya. It was about 200 to 100,000 years ago. Those are the paths a large group of humans moves through time. It is only 80 to 70,000 years ago human beings settled in the Indian subcontinent. So like many other parts of the world, a small group of people was living in this land, at least 70,000 years before the present day. Till now, we have very little information about those early human societies, especially about their architecture. Recent DNA modeling confirms that many of them were living by the sea or the coastal area. Maybe in the recent future, we will have a better understanding of them and their architecture. Fortunately, we have a better understanding of the people and their architecture of advanced early civilization. 4 early riverine civilizations of Eurasian landmass are well known for their advanced architecture for urban development and complex social systems. They are Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Indus, and Chinese civilizations. As far as we know, civilization first begins along the Tigris and Euphrates River in the Middle East. The name Mesopotamia was given to that civilization, which means between rivers. The Indus Valley civilization is very much contemporary to this Mesopotamian civilization. As we understand from the name, this civilization was flourished in the basin of the Indus or Sindhu River. Indus Valley civilization was the most widespread among the early civilizations. That was spanning an area stretching from northeast Afghanistan through Pakistan and western and northern western India. There is sufficient evidence to accept that there was at least a sea and a land route connection between the Mesopotamian civilization and the Indus Valley civilization. Numerous Indus seals have been found in ancient Mesopotamian cities. There is also evidence for settlements of Indus Valley traders in ancient Mesopotamia. We will learn more about the Indus Valley civilization, about its people and its architecture in our next classes. Though we at least know two major cities of ancient Indus. They are Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. The first urbanization of the Indian subcontinent was started in about 3000 BC in those cities. Unfortunately, some evidences shows that the Indus Valley civilization had a decline and it disappeared at some point. Around 1700 BC, the Indus civilization started to gradually break into smaller cultures, and about in 900 BC, it was completely disappeared. There are many theories about the disappearance of the Indus civilization, which we will learn in our later classes. Probably there were other small cities in the Indian subcontinent parallel to Indus Valley cities. The early human migration and their settlement pattern suggest river valley with possible agricultural ability were among the prime requirement for the early settlers. In that sense, there were cities around the valleys of Ganges. The valley of the South India, large river like Godavari and Kaveri, or the northern Indian large river Brahmaputra's valley may have civilizations too. Most probably, they were smaller or less significant than the major ancient civilizations. During the decline of Indus civilization, citizens of those major cities may move towards the small cities of Ganges valleys following the Ganges and its river networks. This is the time when most Vedas were composed in the northern part of the Indian subcontinent. Later in 6th century BC, we see the rise of 16 large territories in the northern part of the Indian subcontinent. Those large territories are called Mahajanapad. Along with other, Magad, Gandhar, and Angu were significant in the history of the Indian subcontinent. There were numerous small territories too. Pataliputra, Indraprastha, Banarasi, and many other cities evolved during this period. This is the time which is marked as the period of second urbanization of the Indian subcontinent. Two remarkable religions were evolved in this part of the world. Jainism and Buddhism were started sometimes in 6th century BCE and 5th century BCE respectively. Their starting is also somewhere in Ganges Valley or its river networks. The political fight among the Mahajanapads led ultimately to the rise of a new kingdom, capturing many neighboring Janapads and Mahajanapads. Magad became the first kingdom of the Indian subcontinent. Magad played an important role in the development of Jainism and Buddhism too. Later, started from Magad, conquering the major parts of the Indian subcontinent, the Mauryan Emperor became the first emperor of the Indian subcontinent. Its capital was located at Pataliputra, somewhere in present-day Patna of Bihar. The emperor was the largest political entity in the history of Indian subcontinent, extending over 5 million square kilometers during the Great Emperor Ashoka. In this module, we tried to cover the idea of India, the geography of the Indian subcontinent. We also have seen briefly how Indian civilization evolved. As we progress this course, we will learn how its architecture evolves and flourishes with time. Thanks for joining us on the journey.